Hey there guys, my name is Deb Marnie and I'm from Aussie Maille. Welcome to our chain mail tutorial channel. Hey guys, big hi, hello, welcome. I hope you are having a fantastic day. Thanks for popping in and sharing some of it with me. Okay, so today I've got a weave tutorial. This one is a Half Persian variant called Half Persian 3 Interlock. Alright guys, let's jump straight into it. Okay guys, so I've made up some sample pieces here for you of the Half Persian 3 Interlock weave. Now, before I go into this, I want to make a couple of notes. At the end of last year, I made up a long list of videos that I wanted to create for you guys this year, and I wrote them all down, and they were just weaves that I liked the look of, I thought you might be interested in. They were not necessarily weaves that I had any experience in. I had to learn how to do, or I still have to learn how to do some of these weaves before I shoot the videos for you. This was one of the weaves that I had never done before. So this is a Half Persian 3-in-1 variant, and I usually enjoy the Half Persian 3-in-1 variants, which is why I was keen to do this. But the one thing I discovered once I started weaving this weave was that it's not a particularly stable weave. So much like elf weave doesn't really hold its shape unless you stabilize it with something, this weave doesn't particularly hold its shape once the tension has been lifted off it. So do I think it's a great weave for jewelry making? No, I don't personally. That is, of course, just my personal opinion. Yours may differ. Personally, I don't think it's a great weave for jewelry making. I had an incredible amount of trouble with the 20 gauge and the 18 gauge AWG versions being stable. It's much easier to pull the thicker rings into shape to take on the weave once you've taken the tension off and put it down, but I found it almost impossible with these smaller weaves, and I even tried smaller gauges, and I even tried smaller ring IDs to try and lock this weave into place in the smaller gauges, and although it helped a little bit, it didn't help to a great degree. So I'm going to include this video just for completeness sake, because it is a weave. It's a weave on the Maille Artisans database, and I wanted to document it for you guys because you might be interested in it. And if I don't show you pros and cons of these weaves, then you may not necessarily know what they are for yourself. So I think a weave like this might be useful in something like a suncatcher or something where the tension stays on the weave. I don't think it lends itself to jewelry, but I'll let you guys make that decision. All right, so moving on from that, I'll go through the ring sizes for you. They're going to pop up here on the screen, and they're also going to be in the description section down below this video. So the 14 gauge AWG 1.6mm diameter wire, the ring ID I chose here was 8 mils. The one for the 16 gauge 1.2mm diameter wire, this ring size is 5.75 millimeters. Now I went down a little bit with the suggested aspect ratio for the 18 gauge and the 20 gauge, as I said, to try and help lock this into place. And I went with a 4.5mm ID ring for this. Now I originally tried 4.75, as I said, I went down to 4.5, so you can use either of those sizes. The 4.75 is a little bit looser. And then the 20 gauge version, I went down to 3.5 mil ID. This is what this one here is. I originally tried 3.75. But as you can see with this weave here, you know, this section of the weave is sitting properly, but this section here is a complete jumbled mess. It's said, it's not a stable weave, but whether or not you use it, guys, that's totally up to you. So let me just show you how to put this weave together. Okay, so I'm going today to use two colors to try and help you see how this weave is. So I'm also going to use, this is 14 gauge 8, 1.6mm wire, 8mm ID. I'm going to also use some 5/16 in here at 7.94mm It's really close to the 8mm that I'm not actually going to bother about swapping these out for a 5/16, but they work fine for this. Okay, so take 2 pre-closed rings and I'm going to feed a twist tie through them to hold them together into this position here where they sit overlapping each other and forming this eye here. And for my first ring, so I'm going to use a different colour for this ring. So you will need a certain amount of your rings pre-closed. So if you want to go ahead and pre-close a handful of your rings in this colour, if you're doing it in 2 colours, and this colour here, go ahead and do that now. Okay, so I've got my first 2 rings positioned like this. I'm going to take up an opened ring and I'm going to feed it through the eyes, so straight through the eyes like this. Okay, I'm going to close that up. And I'm going to sit that ring to my left-hand side, okay? I'm then going to take up another ring, open it up, and onto this one, I'm going to pop one of my pre-closed ring, okay? So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to come down through the back of my weave, which is the side that's facing away from me. I'm going to come down through the back of that ring there. I'm going to twist my ring a little bit, and this time I'm going to position this ring here that I used before. I'm going to flip that up a little bit, and I'm going to come up through that ring and through the silver ring behind it. Okay, so this is where it differs from Half Persian 3-in-1. If you were doing Half Persian 3-in-1, you would go through there like that and sit on top of the ring that you put previously. This variation, we're going to flip that ring up and we're going to go through it and through our first silver ring in the weave. And we're going to close that up. Okay. So our work looks like this. It's a bit hard to see at this stage, it's a little unstable. I'm going to take up another open ring. I'm going to feed one of my pre-closed rings onto it. We're then going to come down through the back of this weave, this ring here. This was our loose ring from the previous step. So come through the back of that. Now this time we want to go through the yellow ring that we placed previously, but where we pushed it up last time, this time we're going to push it down. Okay, we're going to push it down and we're going to go down through the silver ring and then through that yellow ring as well. Okay, and we're going to close that up. And this is what our work currently looks like. Again, I'm going to take up another one of my opened rings. I'm going to pop on a pre-closed ring. Coming through the back, I'm going to pick up that single ring by itself. I'm going to go up through the front of the next 2 rings. Now this time I want to push that yellow ring up. Okay, so last time we pushed it down before going through it. This time I want to push it up, and then I'm going to put my new ring through that yellow ring and the silver ring as well. Okay, and close that up. And you can see the pattern that's emerging. I'm just going to move this twist tie, sorry about that. I'm just going to put it through the front 2 rings because it's making those rings sit a little out of position. Okay, so this is our weave currently. Okay, so you can see that that middle chain goes up, down, and it takes that alternating path all the way through the weave. So our next ring, pop on a pre-closed ring, go through this pre-closed ring here that's at the back of the weave, go through the back of it, and we want to go through the next 2 previous rings, and this time that yellow ring needs to be facing down. Now it will often just naturally fall into position, But if you get a bit confused, just have a look back at what your previous pattern is. Make sure you're keeping the pattern, it's going down. So I'm going to go through both of those rings out the back and close it. Okay, so that's it, guys. That is the pattern. I'll just do a couple more to show you. I just need to quickly pre-close a couple more of these rings. Okay. All right, so again, taking up a new ring, opening it up, popping on a pre-closed ring, holding on to our work. This is our loose ring here sitting at the back. We want to go through it, okay? And although you can see here that our yellow ring is sitting in a down position there, we don't want it in that down position. We want it to be up. So we're going to flip it so it sits up like this. And then we're going to bring our open ring and go through both of those rings, 2 previous rings. Close it up. Okay. And then place one more. So as I said, this is not a stable weave, guys. It can fall apart quite quickly. So if you have to put this down mid-weave, I would put it down very carefully. I would recommend not even putting it down if you can get away with it. But just be very aware of what the patterning is, because as I said, it is not stable at all. So my final ring that I'm going to place for you, okay, pre-closed on an open ring. I'm going to go through the back of that last ring there. I want this ring to be pointed down to stay in pattern, so that's good. I'm going to bring my new ring around so that it goes through both of the previous rings, and I'm going to close that up. So that's it. That is Half Persian 3 Interlock. As I said, look, I think it's an interesting weave. It's a shame it doesn't lock into position. But as I said, if you create this and use it in a situation where it holds some tension, so I'm thinking some sort of home decor piece rather than jewelry, then this, you know, it's not a bad weave. It's not a bad look. But as I said, I personally would not use this for jewelry. But there you go, guys. Half Persian 3 Interlock. Alright guys, well that is it. That is our video tutorial for today. Thanks so much for popping along and joining with me. If you did like the video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up here at YouTube. Leave any comments or questions or anything you may have down below in the comments section. While you're here, and if you're not a subscriber, don't forget to subscribe. Check out some of the other videos that we've got here on our channel. And last but not least, give our shop link a little bit of love. That's where we sell all the bits and bobs and thingamajigs that you're going to need to make up this weave and many of the others that we demonstrate here. All right, guys, thanks once again for popping along and spending some time with me. Keep safe, and I'll see you again sometime in the very near future. Bye.